in this kit, it comes with a pine base. And I love using pine bases because they are, they have all the wires built in. And when they have the wires built in, the nice thing about that is you have an easier way to attach things. It just makes it so much simpler, you know, to put everything together when you're doing that. So I'm going to take this and open it up and get her going here, get her going, spread her out. Our supplies, we've got a kind of a classic combination here. We're going to stick with oranges. We stuck with traditional oranges and textures that are going to last you for seasons, that go every year for fall. So we went with a stripe, a solid, and then this really pretty open burlap weave that's got that little fluted edge. I think that's a little bit more feminine touch on there. It's a newer ribbon, and I love that combo. Now we're going to use the orange scarecrow head's going to be going in here. This also comes in the kit. She got the raffia hair, but she's got a little touch of that burlap, which pulls in that color in that ribbon. And then our greenery that we're going to start off with in just a second is this one. It's the long leaves with all that texture, and there's a little bit of orange on there, but a good green. And then we got a filler that has a little sunflower, berries, and a little bit of lighter green. You see how pretty those mix together. Really, really pretty. And then finally our berries. Oh gosh, these killer berries. I love these. And we're going to lose a little bit of pumpkin. So this one's loaded with floral and ribbon. It's a big kit. It's got a lot going on in it. So if you wanted to, you could downsize the swag and make a whole other project. You'll have enough ribbon and you can do 2 projects out of 1. So we're going to start off with our base first and getting our greenery in. Right, so I just pushed this up a little because I like to keep this long because I'm going to try to get into the pine to put my greenery in. So I'm going to keep that stem pretty long when I put them in, all right? So I'm going to trim these all really long, but I push them up about 4 inches, okay? So ideally we're going to set the perimeter, and you might hear me say that in design school. It's generally one of our first steps. And that means I'm going to put my greenery or my base floral stem or texture, whatever that is. Sometimes it might be a grass or like some kind of bush with some texture. Okay, I trimmed them both down. I kind of like using these doubled up and kind of creating a little bit of a flow when we're going here. So I'm going to put them on my little stool in front of me here. And we're going to use one high and one low is usually what I do, okay? So I take and kind of position them and I trim them to get one stem. I'm going to put my first one up the middle. Now I dipped it in the glue pot, okay? Oh, we're going to have to move the camera up. Sorry. There you go, guys, go. And now I'm going to crisscross right over that glue, okay? So when you're working with a pine base, that's the advantage. It's got glue holding it. I also just use the wires to hold it. So my first 2 pieces are in. So I've got a long and I've got a short. I put them together and they make just a little bit fuller bush that's a little bit longer. And I trim, and I'm going to put that in on the right. Excuse me, I'm sorry, I've got the cough back. I'm telling you, these summer colds are relentless. Now I'm going to come in here to the right. I've kind of brought it to the center. And I'm going to crisscross these right over it to hold them tight. Just be careful you don't get that glue on you. Put that piece in. And so we're setting out our perimeter here. So we want to start to look at that line that we're creating. Now I'm going to come on the left. So there's a long and there's a short. And I'm going to layer those together in here. Hey, after we got back from volleyball and vacation, and we had my mom and my aunt, and I love them all, but you know how it is. You got a whole group of people, and then you have a break with just yourself. You're like, ah. It's so nice. All right. So I started with one high, one low, and one low on this side. Now they're kind of matchy-matchy. I'm okay with that in this position because we're going to be adding more layers. You're not going to really see it. Now I'm going to turn this around, and I'm going to create a hanger like midway here, so I can move it up and down on my workbench. Now, I'm doing that for video, but if you have you want to work down on here, you don't need to bend over and move your body or look up. Feel free to do that on a swag. Adjust the placement and put twist a couple little hangers on the back so you can easily move it up and down on your workboard, and you're not bending over. Okay, so we're going to go from here down. I'm working from here down, okay? And we're going to work from them. So this one's going to go in here, and I'm trying not to go through the back. So that one went a little through the back, so I'm going to come around here and I'm going to grab it with some pine back here and make sure I'm sandwiching it in good. And this needs to still go up. There we go. It can go a little out because that's right at where we're going to be in the midline, but up or out, okay? And you can downsize any project. All right. I'm going to go just a little bit higher. Here's our transition little bump. Put that right through the middle and crisscross. And so what I'm paying attention to on the perimeter is I'm watching the cohesiveness. Are we still falling in line? Are we tapering? Does my arch look good over there? And nothing's just, squirting out too far. All right, let's continue down here. Now I'm shifting more down. I was out and up here. And now, here's the transition, so now I'm going down. I've got 4 pieces left, so we're going to now not make clusters. And we're going to use our little zigzag technique. This is a little bit lower, so I'll come across, and we'll start with one piece a little higher here. So now, I can't have these shooting out, right? I still want that shape to taper. So I'm going to push them in and make them a little shorter. So zigzag, so we're going to go in across and a little bit down. You're going to go in, you want to feel that go like right on top of that pine, and then I'm just twisting one around here. And we're just doing that so the glue touches a lot of pine and we have a little bit of wire. See how pretty it already looks already? It doesn't take much to start making these look nice and full. Coming out to the right, zigzagging, like a little cluster, just push it up. That's why we like pusher greeneries. Next step is we want to go ahead and put in I'm going to go ahead and put in my next filler before I get to even put in my bow or my scarecrow head, okay? I'm going to get these in next. Because these also work on the perimeter. These work out, but a little tighter. So with this spray, I just take and tear these down. And this is all part of the kit. So once you tear those stems down, you always have to kind of clean up the paper. It's super easy to work with that way, but you do have to clean up all this mess or you'll just have paper getting in your glue. So I'm going to fluff each one up. We call that shaking hands for those of you who are new and you don't know what I'm talking about. So literally you shake hands with each piece. That's why I called it that. Like, I came up with some of these terms training my staff at the warehouse how to, you have to take each piece and shake hands. And that's why we call it that. Now I'm going to go in between my greeneries. So I'm going to bring this down a little bit and we'll start up here. We're still going to follow the rules of placement. So I went in between here and I went in between here. Nobody went straight up. I'm filling in between with these. I'm going to slide this up when we go to the bottom. So now I'm going to go in between these two pieces of green. And remember, I'm below the transition, so they still go down, okay? Because you can see if I put this here, how that fights the eye, you keep the flow going together. And I'm going to put these a little tighter to the center. Now I'm getting ready to put the scarecrow and a bow over here, but I still want these in the background, okay? All right, let's put our other piece in right here, right the same area, maybe a little bit higher. All right, let's go ahead and get our scarecrow in, but let me show you how pretty already, okay? Now I've got a little space here where we could put a little bit more. I've got this still. I have some berries. So we are going to fill in, but I didn't want to put too much till we get the head in and the bow in, all right? So we get everything set good. I'm going to put this guy in. I think I'm going to like him on a stem. I'm going to go ahead and put him on a stem. Or I can also just take these wires and I can attach them to the wires with U-pins too. I've done it both ways. Let's try a stem first and see how that works. I'm going to get a good wire stem that I just put in the garbage. Okay. I've got this kind that's a little bendy. It's kind of hard wire. So this came off the base of a floral, okay? So I can see a bunch of glue here where I put the stick in, so I'm going to go ahead and take and put some moss over that to hide it, okay? I'm going to put this in at an angle a little bit down right in here. You see how that's going to fit in there perfectly? Now I'm going to put glue and I'm going to tie it around and get that in. We're going to use the same technique. Oh, it's fantastic. All right, now our bow's going to go over here right beside it. That's in, that looks good. If you feel like your head is not sitting good enough, like I can come in with a backup plan and I can use a U-pin here. It's a U-pin, it's a floral pin that's shaped like a U, it's wire basically. I can grab some of this pine, right? I grab a piece of this pine and then I put the U-pin over it, it's dipped in glue, and then I'm going to take and shove a couple of those in the back of the head. If you've never seen me design a whole lot, I'm big on construction being lasting a long time because we're going to ship our stuff or I'm going to tote it to craft shows. It's going to shake, shake, shake in shipping or the trailer. And so I need to make it sure it's going to survive. I don't want somebody to open their wreath and the main part fall out. That would just mortify me. So I'm always going to do a little bit more to secure it. So that's what I'm going to be doing where you can't see behind here. I'm just going to put that in, okay? And I got the hat I got to go through here. It's going. And then once I get it into that foam, the head is foam. I love carrying those type of components. It's good. It's locked in, okay? All right, here's our bow, okay? And this I want to cut it over to the side. See how cute that is? I'm just going to tuck that right under her little head. I'll leave a little bit of space, but not much. I'm going to take a couple of these cables. These are wires that are part of the wreath, right? And I'm going to attach it over a couple of them. And then I'm going to, once I get it attached, that cable tie, you will not be able to see any of this. But all I do is then I take and I fold these over it, right? So now the bow cannot be pulled off, right? It's tight. That's what we're going to do in here, okay? And I want it to be opposite. Okay, that is stinking cute already. I love this. Now, we may put some more tails in. I don't know yet. I want to make sure this bow is not sticking out too far. I'm going to push it in just a little bit just by bending those wires back. I want it to be in the foreground, but I'm going to kind of mix it in a little. All right, that's cute. I love that we just stayed like true orange on this. Let's get in here. And now we're going to put some berries in there too, okay? So these berries, I like to take these and just cut them into little sections if you can. Pull these down and they'll come off in their own little berries and we can use them individually. And that way you can spread them out everywhere. Okay? Pull them all out. Once again, save these wires for, we can use that. That's the same type of wire that I used to put in the Scarecrow head. And we're going to just start to put these in. These are going to work as our texture, like our twig. You don't have to have both, you can, but in this case I'm just going to use the berries. Okay, these are going to go in a little bit tighter, and I'm going to keep them into the pine, and they're going to go in, they're not going to be shooting out, they're going to be in tighter to the base, and I'm going to use them in between the pieces I already have. So you can see here I'm using the berries tighter to the base, but I'm keeping them following the pattern that we've been doing, where the direction changes once I get past the bow, okay? So I'm still kind of coming out when I come into these areas. Now I'm putting a lot of glue on these because I'm not really wrapping them in the wire a whole lot. They're just kind of coming on the top layer. Unless I feel like I can get a wire, right there I could get a wire around it. Okay, so let's move it up and we'll keep adding texture as we go down. See how cute this is? Me too. I think it's just a pretty color palette, and it's a safe choice too. Okay, I got my triangle forming. Now I'm going to just zigzag the rest of the way down, okay? I love these. These turn out so pretty. So 2 more. You may have to trim them a little. And I know this one's kind of a long video today, but now I just put that berry right into the bow, just on the side. Okay, I'll put a couple in there. I've got 2 left, so I'm going to go back to the top. We're going to use a couple at the top. And I'm just going to put a couple in a little bit, filling in a little tighter around the head. All right, keep these really short and sweet right in here. I'm going to wrap this one. Oh, that's so cute. And then I'm going to put this one in here. And I'm still staying with the shape. These go up. Okay. But I think it's adorable too. I think it's so sweet. I love using, like something cute in with the the gorgeous florals and ribbon too. Now, if you don't want to use a scarecrow in here, that's not your vibe. All I'm going to do is I'm going to move the bow up a little. I can keep the same angle. I would just probably add some tails coming down, but you don't have to use a scarecrow head in here at all. Now, I want a little more berries coming out the top here, So what I'm going to do is, this one I haven't broke down yet. This is my last berry spray. So I'm going to take this one and cut it into a couple of pieces, okay? So I'll have a long one for the middle and then some with a little bit of longer stem down here. All right, and here's this, oh, that looks really good right up the middle. That filled that in nicely. And then I'm gonna just break this one down and we'll use a couple more loosely in there. I think we got enough height with that middle one. I put one more there. I'm gonna bring it back up. We're gonna fill in just a little bit more with berries. And then the last thing we're going to have is our cool pumpkins to put in. And I really want those to kind of be in the foreground, you know. It's great to have, you know, you don't know it at the time. But later you're like, oh my gosh, my parents they never told me no. I mean, my dad's at craft shows with me, working his tail off. My mom is schlepping stuff and like, okay, we can do that and we're going to go here and we can help you. I mean, there's never a no. Like, unbelievable. So, you know, that's why you see me like, oh, Kai's got volleyball. We're going, guys. I got to go do it. Because I just think there's no better way to support your child. If you can, you know, I realize there's sometimes you can't, but if you can. Oh, that looks so good. I love putting these berries in there. I'm going to put one more kind of coming up here out of the bow. I guess you don't really realize it at the time. And then in the same way, your parents might do some things you realize, okay, I mean, they're not perfect. I'm not perfect. But I think it's kind of like taking in, using that experience like both ways. Look how pretty this is. This is turning out so pretty, guys. All right. Now, our pumpkins are kind of our whimsical pieces that we're going to put in the foreground to add that little whimsy. Tear it down and put this guy in next. So we're going to use these pumpkins to accentuate this line or kind of go with it. Now, I didn't put any more ribbon in going in the bottom, and that's fine. We're going to keep it no more ribbon. But I want to kind of work the line in from here to here with the pumpkin. So I'm going to take my first one. It's going to go behind his head, kind of maybe sit on top of his hat here, and go up above, like something like this. Okay, this is like our pumpkin twig. I'm going to put that in next. Now this is where this arrangement's going to get a little funky. It might be uncomfortable. So you can opt out. You can opt out of this part, save this for something else when you get the kit, okay? You don't have to do this part. If you're just like, Kelea, I just like it neat and clean, I'm good, stop here. You are fine. All right, I'm going to put this one in. I'm going to get a lot of glue on it. On my stem, try to. I'm going to go right in above behind his head. Here, nice and tight. And I'm going to wrap him with some pine because I feel like that could get yanked out. When it's a twig, it's kind of up at the top here. I'm going to try to curl it just a little bit. If we can get it. Oh, perfect. So I got a fun, funky little thing going on here. Now, this hat I think would be cuter if I could just kind of flip it up a little. So I'm just going to do that slightly. Right there. Let these bangs be happening. And let me pop a little glue behind it. I'm going to hold that hat up. And then we're going to put a little bit of a flower or something on here to camouflage it. Now I'm just going to hold this for a second. But you could also just take some clothespins or one of those bigger clothespins and just kind of clip it and walk away. You don't have to sit here and do that. All right, now let me I have this spray left too. So once that sets up, we'll come back and we're going to embellish with a little bit of this piece. Right now we're going to go below and finish with our pumpkins. And we're going to do that line I'm talking about. We're going to accentuate the line, okay? So we got our pumpkins working up here that you can't see anymore. Now we're going to come down. Just like these pumpkins grew behind, they came down here and now they're coming out of the bow. All right, so we're going to take the next stem. You see how happy twigs get me? I jump around. So cute. There's our line working from here to here. It's coming out, and I'm going to grab a piece of pine to kind of double secure this. And I want this to kind of move out, so I'm going to, there we go, I'm going to kind of roller coaster, get a flow going. I love making this one. This is so pretty. All right, and then I want to just continue that line down a little bit more. So these are like your cascading tails of your ribbon. I'm going to put the last pumpkin in, kind of coming from behind here, but around. So give it like a little bit of a curve, and that'll look great there. We got a little bit more embellishing to do on the hat. All right, let's do the hat. You know, it's so cute. I love the little pumpkins on the top. And it just looks really, really good. All right, so now we're gonna make this little mini arrangement here, talking about horizontal swags. We're gonna make a baby horizontal swag right here on this hat to try to tie it all together. So there's one big leaf here. Let's put that in the background. And you're just gonna start to take and gently cut these things off and glue them on. All right, here's a little bit of greenery. I'm going to kind of layer over that. And just putting a little glue on there, and then I'm just kind of tucking it all in. We're going to hide it in a minute from when we get all the, oh gosh, yeah. Let that kind of get into those pumpkins. That's so cute. All right. Get in here. I'm going to just tuck it there because I need it to hold on. Okay, and a little green. What? Stay put. I'm not going to put foam or anything there. We're just going to make this little doodad work by just gluing it, because I'm going to put a flower over the center. So we're just taking that one stem apart. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put the flower in. I just cut it really short. I'm going to put a bunch of glue, and we're going to gob it right there. And now I still should be able to tuck a little bit more behind it. You could have done this beforehand too, but I kind of do it last only so I can just see what I want to put in here to go with what I got going on, you know? Get in there. Perfect. Okay. And let me put a little berry in there. Here's a little berry. No. I know the glue's hot. You may have to just hold it for a second because it's not happy. You melted off what you just glued on. You can always put a little foam, guys, if it's easier. A little berry coming down. That's so cute. And let me put a little something on this side. And I'm going to steal a little greenery from the back. Just a couple of little leaves, like I cut off a little bitty leaf here. I think these are just so fun too. Kind of letting these pieces kind of go in with the hair, the little yellow. And now I'm going to put a couple little greeneries. Only thing I might have to do after these set up is come get these little glue strings. There's a couple of little ones, but I'm afraid if I pull them, you know, it's going to pull them out. There we go. That's so cute. Now, Now it doesn't feel like it doesn't stand out. It just melds right in, right? Now we got a little bit of this pick left, and I'd like to soften the bow just slightly more so it also feels a little more cohesive. So I'm going to take and just cut this down into its little sections, and we're going to put these into the bow too. So separate it out and just cut these into their own little sections. So there's 1, here's 2, and here's 3. All right. And so I like to do that with this type of design in the bow itself. Now that doesn't mean I'm gluing it to the ribbon or anything like that. I just kind of, I'm trying to go into the design right behind the, where the bow is attached. So you can see me going into the pine back here, pulling up that ribbon, trying to get it back in here. There we go. And then I'm just going to kind of wiggle that between. So now that comes out of there. All right. See how pretty this looks? That softens it up a lot. I'm gonna put one more in here. Y'all, this is so stinking cute. We knocked it out the park. Look at this. We crushed it. Here's the top. I'm going to go through it slowly. Look at this bow. Like, we crushed it around the bow now. Oh, and the pumpkins continuing that line through there. We didn't really go crazy on twigs with this, but I think all those berries just add that nice wispiness. You can see here, I'm going to work with kind of a pretty brown combo here. I've got a little bit more orangey brown, then I've got a little more tan here, and then I've got a brown velvet pumpkin. We're going to start with a 14-inch wreath base. So I'm going to start off with, if I kept these the length that they come off the stem, like I'm going to just tear this, they would be going out probably, I would say it's about 14 inches. And I'm fine with that as my length on here, okay? So I'm going to just start to tear these down, meaning that I don't have to cut. I'm checking that before I start tearing, because if I need it to be longer, then I would want to cut it. In this case, the extra wire in here is a good 3 inches, so you are good to go. And I love that. Okay, we're going to do that for all 3 of these bushes. Okay, so, you guys, it's Tuesday. I know the week's just starting out, but it is crazy over here with back to school stuff. Do any of y'all help with your grandkids, or do you have kids going back to school? Are you experiencing the same drama? I had to run into Walmart yesterday. Nothing for back to school, but Kaya needed a set of handheld dumbbells for volleyball. So we're running around crazy to get those dumbbells. And I asked her, what'd y'all do with the dumbbells? She said, we didn't use them yesterday. And you want to be like, hello, then why did we have to have them yesterday? I'm going to tear all these down. So I'm going to start by putting them in at just 12, 3, 6, and 9. Okay, that's kind of how I like to just start off, dividing it into 4 sections. And then we'll work from there. And you want to make sure that these are kind of going in the midline. Now, even though I'm putting this in at 12 o'clock, I have to go way behind it, okay, to get it where I want it. You do not have to use this method. It just helps me kind of break it into sections as we're rocking and rolling. Although, I will say, I always do stock up on notebooks and stuff. I'm a paper person. I love spirals and all that. And when they have them really cheap, I got to get in there and get them. Because at 40 cents is hard to beat. But I like the ones that have the plastic cover. I'm just talking about like a spiral notebook. I like to keep things in there consistent so I can go back and look at them. What were we doing? What did we accomplish? Sometimes I need to go back and look. Okay, so I just worked my whole way around. I love this one because it really looks like a nice little skinny millet. Now I'm just going to go in between each one of those sections. Okay? And that's going to get us some good coverage to get us started. So I want to go where it lands in between. And I am using my Spanish moss to hide any of the glue. And if it's thin in there, that's going to sandwich it in. All right, let's go between these two. I noticed a bunch of my friends, just friends from back in high school and stuff, they're doing cruises coming up. And I'm thinking, isn't it going to be hurricane bad season coming? Why are you going cruising? You know, whatever we picked up at the beginning of summer was brutal. We picked it up in Orlando at the volleyball tournament. I got it first. And it just lingered and lingered and lingered. It was like 6 weeks of, you know, trying to get it out of our systems. Okay, I'm going to put this one here, and then I'm going to actually put 2 in this section. You should have 1 extra. And use it wherever you feel like you need a little more fill in. But can't you see how pretty this is to start off with? Now, you can make a wreath with all one material too. You can always do that. Like I could just use like 7 or 8 of these and just fill it in, it'd be beautiful for fall. It definitely would be. Alright, I'm going to put this one right here. Kind of finish it out. Alright, so I built my outer layer, and you want to do that with something spiky that gets out to that perimeter. I love something that has a little movement. So you can see this is going to have a pretty movement. It's going to feel like natural. And you want it to have a little bit of wire so I can manipulate it a little bit, right? Now our next step is the filler bushes. So these are great because they have they have a bit of greenery and berries. They have a little bit of that brown fern on them, which I'm always a fan of that stuff. I mean, I think it looks so cool in the fall things. So if you haven't tried this design of wreath, I challenge you to try one. So I want to give it all a nice little dimension. See how we're shaping it? We're going to do that to all 3 of the bushes. Okay, so you're going to pull these 3 out. Now we got them all fluffed and pretty. So I'm separating these out, and 3 of them are going to have these twigs. So when we put these in, we want to try to use those in our nice little triangle placements. I did put 1 in already, so I'm going to steal the twig out of this to solve this problem. Because I want the twigs to be basically in their first triangle. So that's okay, I'll pull this one out of here. If you don't get busy talking or in your own head, you'll be okay. Alright, I'm going to take it. I could pull it out, but if I do, it'll loosen up the whole cluster, so I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to trim it, and I'm going to put it in that one right there. Yeah, it's so neat that we can always be together here all over the country. I think it's just so cool. Oh, well, even out of our country. Okay, so these have the twigs. That one didn't. I stuck it in there because I messed up. But you see how they're opposite and they're making a triangle. That's how I want to start with that. And then I'm going to take my next 3 pieces and we're going to go between those. Okay, easy peasy. Okay, we're going to go in between all the things, you know. We'll see. But the first day of high school volleyball practice was 4 hours long, and she said, it was light work, Mom. That's what she says. I was like, okay. I played in high school. I ended up I played softball in college, so that was my main sport, but I loved basketball. And I actually I got a basketball scholarship, a dual scholarship to a junior college here in Texas, but the school I went to, they acted like junior colleges were, you know, you weren't, you know, smart enough, so I blew that off. And I just went on to play softball, but I wasn't going to have Kaya do any sports when she was younger because I just thought, well, we're not going to run around and do all these club sports. But then, she got involved in sports at school and she started making good grades. She started, it just gave her such an identity. I realized, oh my gosh, we have to do sports because she is good at them, right? Okay, we're going to go in between. All right, let's see how we're doing. I've got one more. And I'm going to kind of hold on to this, and we're going to use this to fill around. But we're going to get ready to put our pumpkins in next. And that's going to kind of feed in between, all right? Okay, I'm trimming these all to where they have about a 4-inch stem. And we should end up with 6 pieces. Okay, we're going to go in between. I'm going to move a little of that kind of in between and have these come up. And that one's kind of going to the outside. Move over a little so right there. Our first pumpkins. Now I'm going to come in, leave a little space, come in with the next one. And this one's got a little different configuration, so I'm going to use it next, right into there. Now the nice thing is we can shape these up a little bit. Once they get in here, I can manipulate the wires to move them, but let them just kind of get set up and then we'll play with them. And then our third one right there. So I'm going to alternate. We're going to go a long one and then a little shorter one, okay? Meaning that the 3 are in the triangle shape a little shorter on the stem. Yeah, these look really pretty, guys. This is so pretty. Now I'm going to work my way onto the other side with a longer piece. So I'm alternating each one. All right. Coming right in here. I felt that go to the back. So once that happens, I'm going to put some glue on it and go back in. So I don't want it to shoot out the back of the wreath. After you do it enough, you feel it. You feel like, oh, that just went to the back, so that's not going to work. I want to go right through here. There you go. And then I'm going to cover that with moss, because I got a ridiculous amount of glue there. And I'm going to bring a leaf or 2 down. Now we've got 2 to go in this section, so 1 here and then 1 there. So in this case, I'm going to use the short one and then the long one. All right, then I'm going to bring this piece down here and have it just a little bit shorter. Out a little bit. Okay. Let's go right in here. Yes! Alright, and then the last thing we'll do, once these are all in, is some of these long pumpkins are coming out a little bit more than I want. So I'm going to kind of shape them up like we talked about. There's a little bit more of the berries that are already in there, kind of more to the center to fill in around here. And then I want you to see how your pumpkins are showing up. Like, I think we need a little bit more right here. And you're going to wiggle them around a little. If you need to make one of these shorter, like this is shooting out a little bit farther than I want it to, don't have to do anything too fancy. Just curl the wire a little and back him up. Okay? Because I don't want to get too far out with the pumpkin. It's kind of easy. And then just do a little curl in there. Okay. Now, We have one little piece left, and I want to work just kind of a little bit in the center here around. So I'm going to take this, and we're going to actually make our own little clusters with it. And then we'll be going through here. So I'm taking the little pieces here, I'm taking one of the wires, I'm wrapping around, making my own little cluster. And then we're going to use those around the center here. And that way we don't have to cut another bush, we can kind of use what we have. If you have used all the pieces and you need like a little hole to fill, all you're going to do is go steal something from that's not showing, kind of tucked behind. Go cut a few pieces off of one of the clusters and just tuck them in. Okay, let's go right over here. I'm going to get this blue string. I'm going to put one right there. This kind of wreath always sells well. It's a different buyer than like would buy our more elaborate pieces. And it's a different look. And so when you're trying to get a, some type of piece that's cohesive with your other designs you have, you just need 3 elements to create this design. What do you think? I think it's really cute. Really cute. It's got great dimension, looks really pretty. And these type of wreaths can go on tables just like this. And it makes a beautiful centerpiece for a nice big candle or bowl in there. So when you make pieces like this that you are putting in shops, you can also take images with that in the middle to show different versatility of the wreath. They're probably going to buy it for their door, but when it can be used different ways, it kind of really helps you have another selling feature on your piece. Are you ready to have fun with flowers? We're always doing that around here, but today it's going to be pumpkins, witches' hats, and witches' legs. Yeah, we're making our cute kit, our newest witch swag kit. You are going to love this. Yep, it comes with full rolls of ribbon and everything you need. All you're going to need is a glue pot, scissors, some wire cutters, and of course some cable ties. Black ones if you have them, because they will coordinate really well. But if not, no worries. We are going to make this adorable. Hey, Blue Marinos, I'm Kelea, and welcome to Keleas.com. I'm glad you're here. I hope you're excited to make something cute with us. And during the different times of the seasons, we love to make whimsical pieces too. And they don't always involve the flowers, but they involve these really fun components that are, they're just exciting to work with and cute. So if you have never seen us do a kit before or never seen a video and you're brand new, no worries. A lot of times I have kits and they're available till they're sold out. You might see a video later after something's already gone and out of stock, but you can always use that as inspiration. And on this one, we are going to make our whole background out of the swag, and it's really just a big glittery branch that comes in this kit. That's going to be our background. And of course, I'm going to use some black and white fun pumpkin picks that are going to go in there and coordinate perfectly. Then we've got a cute witch's hat, and it's flat on the back, so it works perfect to be the hat of our girl. And this girl, she's wild. She's got these fun legs that are rocking and rolling. So we're going to put this together. So let's get started first with our base. Now, in design school, you're always going to hear me say you need to shake hands with the piece. And what that means is we want to take and just open it up. So I want to make sure that I utilize any wire that's in the base and kind of get that opened up. Now I'm going to come over and kind of start to lay this puppy out. And I know I want her cute little legs to come down like she is, like maybe this is her broomish twig that she's trying to ride here on the door, and like let it kind of work around. I love adding dimension just by weaving those in a little, just like that. And we can have these legs go in different directions, something like that. And then you want to make sure that these stems are staying together up here at the top. So this is when you're going to grab your cable ties, and we're going to start to kind of cluster things together. And you're going to love how quickly these come together. So even if you're a beginner or you want to make this with the grandkids, perfect project, because it just doesn't take a lot of supplies. I have some hot glue if we need it, but I don't know that we'll need a bunch. Now bring this over. I'm going to need another cable tie up here to kind of keep this buddy all in line. Okay, just like that. Easy peasy. So her legs are on. Now I want you to think about, how do I want her hat? It's got a really nice long stem that the hat could go against. So that'll be kind of perfect. And if I do that, then I can have my pumpkins and my bow. You see what I mean? This is going to come together really fast and fun. So I'm going to flip this around, and I think we could probably just be able to hang it in between these two wires, so we don't have to add a hanger. I'm happy with that. I'm going to rotate this around, and the hat, we've got to pin it right here. And one of the best supplies you can use whenever you have to pin something is a floral pin. I'm going to grab those because I got my little box of floral pins. Oh my gosh, I just almost took out the whole table. There's my glue pot. So when we get a floral pin, it's a little metal pin. You buy these at the craft store. Okay, and you're going to need some of those. You're going to need some cable ties to do this kit. And what I can do is just flip this around so you guys can see what we're doing on the back. But I'm going to just be able to pin this right along here to attach it now, because we made two little areas. So sometimes you guys don't have to have a base when you make your next project. You can create your own base out of other pieces. So I'm just popping these into the foam that's on the hat, just like this. So we get nice, secure pieces. And we're going to need that all the way along. I'm getting more floral pins. Okay, you got it. This is not difficult at all. Just be careful you don't pop through the top of the foam if the foam gets skinnier, right? Because these have a certain length here. Pop it in. You want to hear that pop, you know you're through the fabric. But I mean, that's so neat and easy. Now, if you want to make these to sell and you're going to buy some kits, I would put a little ribbon right over there to make it a little more neat. And you could possibly add your own little hanger here that was separate and a little more neat and clean. But overall, if you're just making it for yourself, I don't think you have to go to all that extra work. But you can if you want to. That was the little hanger for the hat. I just pulled it off. I think we're good to go. Now let's flip it back around. Look how cute. And it has its own little bow right there. So she's going to hang just like that. You're going to spread out her little legs. Now, the idea is we fill up the body with a bow right here where her head would be under her hat. We'll be making a bow out of this. I make the bows on separate videos. So grab the link here and we'll show you how we make the bow. But we're going to use a bow here. And now the last part of our kit is our pumpkin spray that has these fun little twigs, but then it has black and white pumpkin. So it goes so perfect with our project. And you definitely want to take and spread these out. Shake that out. Shake hands. Hello. Get everybody moving and happy. And then this is going to fill in right on top of her body. But I'm going to leave a little room for the bow. So now we've got this cute little accent. We've got legs moving in and out. She's riding this broom. Pumpkins. She's just looking so cute. Okay, so I like that there. Let's just flip this around. I'll also attach this in the same little area. So grab another cable tie. But you know, you're going to have extra Harlequin ribbon, so we could definitely just go over this attachment zone and just kind of neaten it up a little bit. Clean it up to make it look pretty back here, if you want to. Okay, that spray is on. I'm happy. Oh, cute. I love how it just looks like she's going to be flying. And now it's bow time. So with the bow, here's our cute bow. I know it's adorable. It's really going to tie this all together. You're going to pull that right on top of the legs where it tucks right where her head would be. Flip that around. I'm sorry, I knocked my ribbon down. And we're going to get that tied on there. And then what you want to do is pull that tight, and then we'll go fluff that up. Can you believe how fun and easy these are? If you have sconces outside your home, like lights that are separated, this would be so cute to get 2 of these, put 1 on either side. Y'all, oh my gosh. She is so cute. I want that leg to go that way. You know, these long, cute legs, you can have so much fun with them. Look at this. Is that not the cutest? We ended up not even really needing much glue, just for the pins. But we made it together. Y'all, isn't she precious? I can't wait for you to take this and hang it up on your door and tell everybody you made it. You made it sweet and simple and easy, and I think it's adorable. I can't wait to see what you make, Bloomerinos. Y'all go have fun with flowers and funky witch legs. I think this is so cute. Bye, everybody. Promos now. Hey guys, look what we're gonna make together. Yeah, you want to make your own little witch? Let me make this screen bigger. Get it wide as I can. The glue pot out of here. Hey Bloomerinos, do you see how cute this witch is? She's ready to hang on your door. You want to make one with us? I'm going to show you how. Quick and easy. And of course, we've got a kit. So get in here. Let's have fun with flowers and witches. This is adorable. Hey Bloomerinos, do you never want to miss a video just like this one? If you don't, get on our text list. Grab a spot at 832-734-5201. Text us VIP. We'll put you on the list, and then you won't miss another video just like this cutie. And what we're going to be using in this project, we're going to be using an 18-inch wreath base. Then we are going to be using, and I'm using a grapevine. And to make it wispy, we're using our phoenix tail fern in the beige, which is just so natural feeling. It's like a blooming grass. It's just perfect. Then our pumpkins we're going to use are a nice brown fuzzy texture that go great with those tones. And then we're going to use our white sunflower sprays again. These are perfect for this. They're going to cover up a whole lot of real estate, and we'll get a lot of bang for our buck with the really big sunflowers in there. Then our filler we're going to use is bringing in the same color. It's just a little bit darker, but a different texture than the fern. And we'll use this more in the foreground. Well, this will be more in the background of our designs. So I'm going to turn it around. You're going to put your wire in, and you're going to make an upside down U, a regular U, an upside down umbrella. And I'm going to flip that around, and we're going to take and twist these and just make a hanger. I do want my hanger to come up above my wreath, especially if I do craft shows. It works great as a handle to give to your customer. And there is my hanger, and I'm going to flip her back around, put her back on the wreath stand. Let me just adjust the camera a little bit, down a little. Now our hanger's on. That was easy, right? We're going to go ahead and put our first greenery in to set the perimeter. And in the fall, the greenery may not be green, of course, and we're using what is called a phoenix tail fern. It's a beautiful fern. This is in a beige color, which is going to go perfect with our project. I have already fluffed all of those, but here's one unfluffed so I can show you what to do. When these come, they come in bundles of 3. You just tear the little paper apart. I kind of slit it with my scissors so it would come apart. And you'll have 3 sprays like this. What I like to do is open them and shape them, okay? So shake hands, like we do say, hello, nice to meet you, fern. And spread these out. And I have a nice fanned out look, right? And then I'm just cutting these down to where they have about a 3-inch stem here. And I've done that to every spray so far, okay? So let's start to put these in. So in each bush, 2 are a little bit bigger than one, one's a little smaller. So when you get a bigger one, use that to really extend out your lines, okay? Let me see if that's right in the middle for you. I think that's pretty good. Now I'm going to start here. I'm going to give that a swirl in the glue pot. We're going to start one up here at the top. Okay, I want to make this beautiful. And this design is supposed to be wispy and very elegant. And I have my Spanish moss. I'm using my light green. I'll bring this in and put it over any glue, also help hold pieces in. Now our transition, we said, is going to be right about here. So keeping that in mind as we start placing everything in. Now let's just work completely opposite that at the bottom right here. I'm going to bring this up a little bit for the bottom. Let me move the camera, guys. There you go. So the bottom, we want it to kind of match that and come down right here. And I love that this is super wispy. And make sure these are going into the wreath, not through the back. You can give this a bend and spread that out. A little bit of Spanish moss in here to hide my glue and hold that in place. All right, got my first two pieces on. They have transitioned different directions because they're in different parts of the design. Now I'm going to work another big piece up here at the top, right in here, right beside the other. This one will kind of come straight down. Perfect. I love it. Very good. And I'll take the other really big piece and we'll have it kind of work straight down here on the outside. And this one can bend in a little bit more. And this one's going down because we transitioned down in this design. Look at that. All right, let me add some Spanish moss in here. Okay. And then I'm going to take one of our smaller pieces, kind of use it here on the inside. So it's going to go up right here at that transition where we change directions. So pretty. All right, it looks great. And the last piece I'm going to use at the top, kind of bringing that circle down a little bit more. So I brought my transition a little bit more down than I was planning. I was going to have it up a little higher, but that's okay. I can still accentuate that with this piece and just have it bend and kind of come over. I'm going right there. What we want to do is grab our sunflower sprays. We're going to use these guys. And I already prepped these, but this is how they look. One long spray like this. And what we're going to do is cut this section off right here where you get the small flower and about a 3-inch stem, and then do the same thing on the bottom. So you have a large flower and a 3-inch stem. Let's get our larger pieces in. And I did trim up both of these sprays into different sections. And we're going to use one right here, kind of above the transition right here, and one below right here. So I'm going to put my first one in the top, and it's going to go in here to transition between those two. I'm going to put my first one in, give it a swirl in that glue pot, bring it over here and get it pushed in and try to make sure it's going into the grapevine, not through the back. Sometimes when you put it in, the first thing it wants to do is go to the back, so you got to reposition it. There we go. Perfect. And that kind of bridges the gap between the two greeneries right there. So that's a good first piece in. And now I'm going to take my other piece and have it kind of go down from here. Similarly, leave a little bit of space in between these two. Maybe like right here, okay? A little space in there because we're going to put some pumpkins in there in a little bit. Okay, and I'm going to have this one go down. The other one went up. And then that one can run between these greeneries over here. Space out those leaves, layer them in. They can be in the background. Just tuck them in. Okay, and then we're going to change the angles of the heads a little bit where they go opposite each other. Okay, now grab your smaller sunflowers. And these are fun because they have the maple leaves that have the contrasting colors. So we're going to put one in here. All right, right in here. And just kind of let that kind of work between those greeneries. And spread these out. Remember, we're going for that wispy look, so I want to make sure these are spread out. And this piece is going to do the same thing at the bottom. So I'm going to bend it and give it a curve in. And there is our angle. So it's going to work opposite this piece, so a little bit right in there. Now, if I can see any of the glue, if it's not camouflaged enough, I'm going to put a little moss on it. This one right here, I need a little bit in there. Let me make sure that one looks good. We're going to be using our fuzzy pumpkins next. So take and just cut them off the stems. And we're going to use them all individually. So just cut them kind of as long as their stem will allow you. So they'll all have about 5-inch stems, something like this. And what we're going to do to make them a little bit easier to go in is I'm going to make little clusters out of them, and we're going to use them in 2s. We're going to use 2 above the transition, 2 right here in the middle, and 2 below, okay? And so easy way to do that is just twist these together. You make one little stronger wire, and you make a cute little cluster, one long, one short, right? So the only thing you have to do is just make sure you get them to a point at the bottom and just trim it. So it's a little bit easier to go into the grapevine, all right? Now get it in. I want to put the one right here at the transition first. And once I have it in, I'm going to let it just kind of set up, and then I can wiggle it a little bit. Do the same thing, one tall, one short. Just twist them. Trim it to make it neat. So it's a nice point going in, and then we're going to use that one up above. Right in here. And that was going to be kind of tight to the wreath. And then we'll use one more down here. We want to work that triangle. You could put it here, but I think I'm going to bring it a little bit more out there, just to be a little more unexpected. We can play with it. Let's see. Oh, I kind of got them at the same height, but that's cute too. They're cute all clustered together. All right, let's put that one down there. Okay. So we got a nice triangle working with our pumpkins. Hitting the big fat branch there. There we go. I'll bring that in right there. That's so stinky cute. Okay. Now what I want to do is kind of balance out my fern just a little bit that's in here. And make sure we have some of it working forward also. So I'm going to take a couple of pieces and cut a couple of pieces out and layer them in. I'm going to put this one right here where it kind of comes behind this sunflower out to the side a little bit. So I'm going to steal a little bit from each piece to layer it in just a little bit better. Okay. Now up here, see how this goes? I want to watch that line up there. And I'm going to steal this piece right here. And I'm going to layer this in right on here so it layers over these pumpkins a little bit. You know, a lot of times we save a piece for the last, and we didn't do that this time, but I'm kind of doing the same thing. I'm swiping a little
from the bigger clusters to use it to go between here. And layer those bigger leaves on these to the back. Move those to the back and let the fern go in front. Okay, that looks great. A wheat bush, and just take and cut off these as long as they'll go to start. Get them all off the bush. And some of these longer ones, we might be breaking them down in a little bit, so just pull them off to the side. I think you've got 3 longer ones. Go with all these shorties first, because we're going to work in this color right around the pumpkins in the middle and this transition. So I'm going to work in between the Phoenix we already have in. We're going to layer this pretty brown in. Try not to yank it like I just did. So one above, let's have one going below. I'm going to use the shortest ones first. Just mirror that one down below. The transition's at the pumpkins right here. That nice and fills that up. Keep using the short ones on the outside here. We're going to do the same thing up here. One above. Give that a little bit of a bend. These little guys go to the outside. Perfect. And then one below. This one's a little bit longer, but that'll be fine. Okay, and we want to complete these triangles now. Okay, we've created this part. We want to complete this triangle right here with a longer one. These almost look like a millet. They look so cool. I love these in here. They're picking up that color from the middle of the sunflower. So pretty. Okay, complete this triangle with that longer one up above. That looks good. Now let's take our really long ones. And I'm going to take, and we're going to cut them into 2 and just kind of zigzag off of that. So I'll take and cut this one into 2. And from this one, we'll come, I think I'll just come down here and go up above. And they're not as long, but we just want to get that color. And then one more down here. We're just filling that up a little bit. Okay, and the same thing below. Take one of the long ones, cut it in 2 right here. So I have 2 pieces. And this one, I think I'll just use one right here because I've got those 3. Let's bring one out from behind the pumpkins. And that's that kind of empty place there. There's not as much grapevine, so it's a little tight, but I want to make sure that's not going to come out. So I'm going to put my moss in there on top of that glue to hold it. Careful just sticking your finger in there. That little bit there. All right, I think that's pretty good. I'm going to put one more piece just kind of right beside it, thicken that up a little bit. Kind of shooting between these pumpkins. I love the way that looks in there. Beautiful. And then we've got our final piece that I think you should use right in here around the pumpkins. I'm going to divide that into 2. And let's have one just kind of come out of the pumpkins. I think it could kind of go up right here. Just go right between it. And then how about one right here out the side, just right there a little bit. I think that will look great. And you can pick your direction when you get to your transition, whatever you want to do. You can put it in, then twist it, and do what you need to do there. Look how pretty it is all layered in there. I love it. Tell me what you think. I hope you try this one. I love the way it looks. Turned out beautiful. You can even twist it more if you want. Bend that C more if you want to get it over even more than we put the hanger. You can play with it. You can adjust that hanger anywhere you want. I love it. She looks beautiful. And you can wiggle these around as much as you want or just put them both straight forward. I think you've got options. I love this one. We're going to use as one of our background pieces in this a big, beautiful maple leaf that's going to be in the background. And we are still sticking with that cottage charm feel here. So the colors are very neutral. The main color is coming from this garland. And we love to cut up garlands because they're economical for amount that you get on there. And this is a kit. So you'll have plenty of foliage and those pumpkins. And then I have the cutest little pine cones in there too. That is so much fun. That comes in the kit. And then we've got two of these eucalyptus bush, that pretty green, tying these two colors together. Then for some length and a different greenery, we're using an olive leaf spray right here. And finally, we're sticking very neutral with our ribbons. We're going to use like an ivory expandable jute and then a 4-inch beautiful jute. Just have a really classic cottagey feel on here. I think you're going to love it. All right, we're going to start off by getting that leaf in the base. The kit has all the supplies. It doesn't come with the wreath, but we are using an 18-inch wreath base that you can grab at your local craft store. We're going to attach our leaf in here. It's very easy to attach the top. We can take this little jute rope off and use a cable tie up here at the top. But I also want you to think about, we got to have something to keep the bottom from flapping. And one of the easiest ways to do that is if we just take and tuck it through a little bit of grapevine and see if we can get the right balance of it going through some grapevine and still being able to attach it up here. And what we're doing is we're trying to keep it from flopping on somebody's door. That works great. You could even grab it up here or here, wherever you want. And we're going to attach it with a cable tie at the top. So I'm using a 12-inch here, so we've got lots of room. And I don't really like for you to be able to see it, so I'm being careful not to come all the way through the back. And we'll just attach that right there. And voila, it's that easy. Our leaf is in. So you're going to grab these are olive leaf branches. I divide them right here where I take the long piece off and then leave these two pieces together. Everybody needs 2-inch stems, so cutting it right there, okay? And when you do that, you're going to end up with 6 pieces all together. 3 will be a little bit longer. I already pre-cut the others, and 2 will be a little fuller, all right? So we're going to go ahead and know our bow is going to be up here. It's going to be coming down, so we want to go everywhere from here to the right, everywhere from here to the left. Our transition is occurring at the bow. So we're going to do that right now. Let's start with those long pieces, and we're going to shape it out from right behind the bow to start. Kind of set our direction, our perimeter. We're going right into that grapevine. I love it shooting off big like that. That's perfect. If you can see that glue when you put these in, you're hitting that with a little moss. Or if you're going into more of an open piece of the grapevine, you need to fill in with your moss. Give this a little bit of movement. There's our first 2 pieces. Now I'm going to come down with one more down here. So I'm going to give this a little bit of a bend so it matches this side of the shape. Of course, it's coming down. Tuck this right behind the leaf here. I love that. Now let's do some more up at the top. Here's one of our doubles. We'll work it up there. I'm going to go I'm going to decide how far I want to come down. Maybe like right here. Beautiful. Hit that with a little Spanish moss in there. Let's work in between. Now it's kind of tight in there. So I'm going to take and just cut one of these into 2 pieces. And we can separate it out like that. I want to put one in here. And this is the greenery that's going to extend past all the pumpkins and the eucalyptus. Here's another single piece. I'll use it between these 2 down here. So we didn't really do any triangle placement right now. We're more working on the greenery that's going to the outside. And this piece, let's put it right in the transition. So I'm going to cut these a little shorter. And when I say transition, that's where we put the bow generally, or we put some type of larger floral or something to kind of help us move direction. I'll put this one going up and that one going down. And just like that, we have nailed it. I love our perimeter. It looks really good. It looks cohesive as we work around that outside. So we did it. That's good. You guys grab your garland. We're going to take this and just cut it apart. I already pre-started. You don't need to unwrap it or anything. It just is easy to take and cut these off. And when you do that, you're going to end up with 6 nice long pieces. You do want to take those and go ahead and shake hands with them. I've done that with most everybody. And also, hang on to this. Is always a great hanger to use as a hanger on wreaths. Cut that up, and you can use it to hang different pieces. So I'm going to start to shape these up. And 3 of these have bigger pumpkin clusters like this. And 3 of these have the small baby clusters, okay? So you want to kind of evenly space that out. So I'm going to shake hands with this one. I got everybody else ready. But this one needs a little loving. Now, remember, we're going to have our bow. So we want to do this design. I think we have a little bit more below the bow than we do above. So I'm going to plan for one of these above with the white clusters, the pumpkins, and then 2 below. So we'll put these in first. We know we got a bow working up here, so let's kind of come away from the bow. Let's work between those greeneries. And this, we want it extending up, but we want most of the fun part down here on the actual leaf, really close to the leaf, like this part down. Now let's take a filler one and let's have it kind of come down and work inside a little bit. All right. And remember, if you end up seeing that glue, we got to take and cover it. We want to make sure we are breaking the plane of the leaf. This metal leaf in the background, we want to be doing that. Overlapping those edges. All right, I'm going to put one right here kind of close to where the bow is going to go. So we can wiggle these pumpkins right up into the center of that bow. I know that'll look good. I'm going to put this right in here. Yeah. And take and separate that out like that. That's great. And let's come down. Another big one. Let's go down a little bit further, like right in here. Make sure you guys can see that. Yeah, it's really pretty. Running tight to everybody. Okay, that leaves me 2 pieces left. And we're going to use these more in the foreground. We're going to layer them on top of our eucalyptus. So let's go get that eucalyptus. Let's do that next. And cut these all down. Trim them all off. We have 2 of these. And you will notice that 2 of them have a stem that's a little bit longer. So we're going to put those in first. We're going to bridge that gap between these pumpkins and how everything kind of cascades out with these that are a little longer. So I want them to work between some stems. So I think right here would be fine. And it can kind of come out between these greeneries. So I'm going in there tight under the leaf. We're letting that cascade out long. I have a tendency to push these off because I kind of decapitated it. There we go. So that one there, let's use this one maybe up at the top because these are longer. So we want to utilize them somewhere they can layer in and we can appreciate their length. We'll do that up here. Make that go in. It's not liking that spot I picked. There it goes. Like cooperate. Oh, that's not going to work. It needs to go in there deeper. We put some more glue on. I could trim this stem shorter too, but I want it to go. There we go. It's happy now. And the bow will be there. So that's good. Now let's take some of our shorter ones. And we're going to use more of a zigzag method now. So we're going to go out, in, okay? So let's just put one here where the bow is going to be. We'll put one right behind the bow. And then I don't think we're going to mess with this zone anymore till we get that bow in because otherwise it's harder to get it in. So if we use that as the start of our zigzag, let's come in. Right behind the pumpkins. But whenever I say zigzag, that means we're going to work in and we're going to work out, but we're still working on our C shape down here. Now we're going to come out, and I want to stagger these, okay? Some can be more in the background, some can be more in the front. Then we have this one here. So let's come a little bit inside. Now we have a leaf here, so it's a little bit tricky. Got our metal leaf, got to work behind it. Down in here, perfect. Good. Let's come outside again, down. There we go. And we'll try to work back to the inside. I'm going to find a little bit longer piece like this one. Because a little bit we're having to work under those edges of the leaves, so you might need a little bit more length. Oh, that looks great. Now we zigzag back and forth, back and forth. Let's do the same thing at the top. Yeah, and let's go back to the outside. Give that a twirl in that glue pot. Get a lot of glue on it. Work these in between. Don't forget, we're always pressing into our grapevine. We're not going to the back, we're going in. All right, one more down here. And we've done a fantastic job. I love it. We got good coverage, nice movement, happy with everything. You should be left with 4 pieces that will work in around the bow once it's in, but it's bow time. Now we're gonna get it put in. It's going right here in this transition area. So tuck those pumpkins out of the way for just a second. And we're gonna work right in there where these tails are gonna come down. So I'm going to attach this right around the stem up here. There we go. The thing is, you can't just attach it to like one piece of grapevine. And I can't necessarily just put it to the metal wire on the stem or it will slide down a little. So I'm trying to find a happy medium in there. And sometimes you have to use your awl to bring back up the end of the cable tie. And I'm going to do that right now. If you guys want to avoid this, just put the bow in sooner. Might be a little bit easier. Okay, I got it. You just can't rely on one little piece of grapevine. All right, let's get that tight. I hear it crunching. Yay. All right. Now, we're going to work these tails in. Oh, let me cut off the end of that cable tie. Okay. We're going to bring this tail down a little. I want it to work straight down, kind of right on top of the leaf, but over here. This one I want to work through here. Okay, now get this straight and these moving. This pumpkin can wiggle right to the front, that's fine. I think that looks nice. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is use one of these longer picks right in here to kind of come up from the bow and mirror what we got going on up into this piece of olive branch. So I just took one of these, broke it into a couple of pieces. I'm going to take the longer one and work it coming right above the bow here. I love that look. And then let's take one with the pumpkin and put it right into the closer in. Oh, it came out. There we go. We'll let that glue set up, but I want that right coming in out of there. Now I'm gonna step back and take a look. I think I want a piece here too. I can either have this one kind of work. Oh no, I've got that there. Let's work between those up at the top. So I'm going to trim this into two sections. One's a little bit longer and one's a little shorter. But just don't cut off your cute little pine cone that's wired in there so nicely. Of one little. And this part will be different for everybody. You're going to look at your design. You're going to see where I need a little bit more. You know what? I do need it right here. I want it right here instead. Because I want to kind of have the pumpkins tucking in around this ribbon right here too. I like that. And I'll go with the smaller piece in between over there. And my little bit of eucalyptus, I'm going to use in tight to the bow also. So I'll take and cut these into two pieces. And when you make these cuts, make sure one has a little bit of a longer stem on it. Okay. I'll tuck that one in. About this one right below the bow. We're going to make sure we're hitting that grapevine. I just like that tucked in there. And let's go in here and see where we need two more. I think one would look pretty good right here. And then how about one more right there? Y'all, let me show you this guy. He looks amazing. Let me zoom in on him. I love it. I love the leaf layered in there. Just the whole look of it is just beautiful. So subtle, but just gorgeous. I love this style. Let me show you what comes in the kit and what we're going to be using. We're going to start off with a moss wreath base. This one is really fun. It's got ferns, that deep green, just a little bit of lavender kind of backfill in there, just a little touch of that. Our really fall aspect that we're bringing in that's very subtle is a small white pumpkin pick with a little bit of a green pumpkin. We're going to use 4 of those, and that's going to help us lay out our structure in this design. Then I love using, this is a olive leaf branch. You're going to have 3 of those in this kit. And then we have 2 of the lighter green eucalyptus in that fall tone. That muted tone. So that's what's really important here. All these tones are very muted. So you're getting a very neutral kind of design that has that touch of fall. And that's going to be a lot of fun. I think you're going to love it. So this kit is available while supplies last. We're going to prepare this base. This is a pre-made base. So it has this great vine in the background. And then it has floral clusters with some angel vine. And this is ferns in here. But it's a little unruly. So what I want you to do is take and work your way around. I generally rotate the wreath on the actual nail, and I work just right in this quadrant so I don't miss a spot when I'm working around prepping a base. So I'm going to do that right now and work our whole way around. If your hands are not used to working with a lot of rough material, I would go ahead and put some gloves on. Sometimes this angel vine has a little bit of a mini little thorn to it. It just depends. This doesn't seem like it, but put gloves on if you're sensitive. But this is such a neat base because it's so fat already when you start to add to it. And then I'm just spreading the fern out and in between as we work our way around. We want to push the angel vine to the back and get this nice and open. Like these is moving forward. We don't want that. We want it moving backward. Okay, and you have this open and everybody moving out. Then take a step back and we're going to look at openings from the outside. So right here, it looks like a little bit of opening. Move the angel vine over because we want to start with kind of a nice, even base. All right,
So that just takes a couple minutes to get it all prepped. Grab your pumpkin picks there next. We're going to put those first in the design to help section out our wreath because this design is going to be all the way around. Now we're going to use 4 of the pumpkin picks and you're going to put those at 12 o'clock, 3, 6, and 9. They're going to divide this into 4 sections, which will help you evenly put the greenery in and the eucalyptus, and they'll get us that pop of white in each section. So shake hands with these. You do need to leave the stem pretty long. Now, if I want this to be sitting at 12 o'clock, right, I've got to come in behind everything. So somewhere right in here, I'm going to load this with glue. And then kind of scoot this to the side. Scoot in right behind there and just press that in. Shape it up just like that. So there's our first one. Now let's put our one next door. Let me move my glue pot over, guys. I'm such a creature of habit. If something's in not the normal place, it's like, where is that? So shape these up, shake hands. Okay. See how this pretty green, it looks so good with this base. And the pumpkins are staying tight on the inside. Okay, we want them tight on the inside. So that's loaded with glue, and this one's going to come in a little higher here. I'm going to try to tuck that behind. There you go. And we're just going into that. I want to make sure I'm going into the grapevine as well. Now, if you can see any glue, which I can see just a little bit, we're hitting it with Spanish moss right now. All right, now let's come with one more down here. I'll try to get that one back just a little bit more. I need a little bit higher. There, perfect. Okay, now lower. And you may want to go ahead and put them in first to kind of get that spacing right. And then glue them. That's okay too. Okay, now down here at the bottom. The nice thing is that angel vine is so thick, it kind of holds everybody. I'm going to twist this around too to keep that down. So now we're breaking down our olive leaf bush. And the way I'm doing that is just trimming off the main center piece. And then you have 2 shorter pieces and you're going to take those and trim them off the main stem as well. So you'll have 3 separate pieces like that. Now we're going to work one of these in between each of the pumpkins to start setting more of a perimeter. So I'm going to go in between my pumpkins, just push this in right here. And I'm going to kind of go clockwise with these. So we'll go in between the next 2. Right here. I'm kind of going into the angel vine. That's the clumpier vine in this wreath base. All right, in between these 2. Just kind of pulling it up a little bit and just going into the back of it here. Yeah. And now in between these. And we want to try to have a little bit of a bend on these. Okay. Now that those are in, grab your little longer pieces and we're going to go in between each one of those. We're going to trim these down a little. These are a little bit longer. I'm only going to have 3 of these, so choose wisely. Let's put one right here. Push it in. There we go. Okay, one at the top. I love that. That one's got the little olives on it. Now between these 2. So this is our last really long piece, but down here I can use a shorter one, just kind of come out with it a little bit more when I put it in. We want to bridge between these 2, so we go between.
So the first layer, we put them between the pumpkins. Now we're putting them between the greenery. Okay, I'm going to take one of the shorter pieces, come down here. And this one, I got to make it appear to be longer than it is. So I'm going to come where I can tuck it in behind a little bit. There we go. That looks pretty good. We're going to step back. We're going to see if we have any major holes. That looks pretty nice. I need to give these just a little bit more movement. Now, you're going to have one longer piece left and a couple of smaller pieces you cut off. We're going to layer those more to the foreground at the end. So here's our eucalyptus bush. We have 2 of these we're going to be using. And I want you to take and trim them just as long as you can get them. That means make those stems long down here. Okay, so it's all cut down. One of these is super long. Just pull that out. And now we're going to work with all the short pieces. Okay, and with these, we're going to start the same way we've been doing. We're going to start kind of inside, in between each pumpkin. Okay, so just go to a little bit right of where you put the very first the stem with the olive branch. Just work a little bit right of that. So now between these two, so what we've been doing is layering our colors here. Now we're bringing in a lighter eucalyptus, pulling out the nice, pretty, creamy whites. And you can see why this is such a beautiful transition into fall. It's so super classic. It's cottagey, but it's also classy. In between these 2 pumpkins and one more here. So that just kind of gets us started. Some of the pieces are a little shorter. I'm picking out the medium pieces for this. So in between these 2 right here. A little bit to the right of the olive branch. That looks good. Look at that. Ooh. Ooh, I just yanked that off. Put that back on there. Get back on there. Sometimes I'm too aggressive. You know how I can do it. Okay, I love that. Now we're going to go in between each of those now with any of the shorter pieces. We're staying short. So that's kind of putting us right a little bit, kind of right on top of the pumpkins picks. So just go behind them. Looks good. So we're going to go right behind the pumpkin picks. Get a good amount of glue on there. You need a good amount of glue going into all this angel vine. Yeah. All right. Now we're right behind this one. Look, it look pretty. Okay, I'm picking out anybody that's longer. Try to leave those little shorter pieces to the very end. So now this one. Now that looks good. Let me step back and take a look. Oh yeah. Gosh, so pretty, guys. Okay, I'm gonna pop my pumpkins in here and have them poking out. Now, you're gonna take the 2 longer pieces that you have, and we're gonna use those anywhere we might need to bridge our transitions a little bit bigger. We have a kind of a longer one here, a longer one here. So let's kind of shoot in between these 3 with these 2. It's a little too long, but I'm going to take the bottom, like little 3 off. And we're going to kind of work off of a triangle now. So I'm going to go, I think we'll go 1, 2, 3. And that just means we're going to use a little bit more of this flower here, this eucalyptus, kind of going out. We're just thickening it up a little bit. Triangle, think triangle. We're going a little thicker. So there's the top. Here's this part. A little thicker out here. You're just making it a little fatter, extending that line a little bit. There you go. Now the other part of the triangle right here. Make it a little bit bigger. And that's a great way to, add a little bit more of this element with precision, where the eye is going to really pick up on that and look very clean and neat. Okay, Looks excellent. I love it. We put the pumpkin picks in first. Now we're going to soften them up with eucalyptus. So you're going to take the eucalyptus stems that you have left, you have 3 left, and divide them into 2 smaller sections. So now we're just tucking in around the center with these. So here we go. I'm going to load them with glue, and you're just going to go in a clockwise motion, and we're just going to fill in between each of our pumpkins to start here in the center. Let's fill those in. I got to turn my glue down a little today. It's getting extra hot. And we're just tucking in all around them. So some of that's going right into where the pick is. That's fine. You just want it really lush in there. And when you're working on the left side, sometimes you have to come over here and double check this side from that side because you can't exactly see right into this little area. I'm going to keep going around. I'm almost around. I'm almost been all the way around. Okay. How about a little more at the top? Watch out for glue strings. All right. A little bit more right there. That fills in really pretty. It just really brings your eye to the middle of the design here. I love that. Okay, now we have our little bitty olive branches left, and I want you to work those a little bit further out, coming out on the design. So we're just going to work our way around. So not quite in the center, but a little bit coming out. So I'm going to go right kind of in between each of the pumpkins to start. And the reason we do that is so we just get equal placement. That's why we divide it into those 4 sections. It really helps us see each quadrant like a piece of a pie. And then if you have extra, that's fine. You add that wherever you have a hole. But right now we're just working around here to add just that little bit more texture in there. I've got one more piece. I'm going to step back and take a look at it. Just make sure. Oh, it looks great, guys. I love this. We made kind of a simple wreath into an absolutely lush, polished looking piece. These leaves in here are the bomb. Love those. I love that pumpkin pick. Okay, here comes our last little piece, and just pop it in here wherever you think you need it. And we did it. Take a look at this beauty. She is gorgeous. Hey, Bloomerinos, we're getting ready to play with our latest kit. And on this one, you're looking at all the supplies that come in this kit. You've got 3 full rows of ribbon, the scarecrow head, this great wreath base, the coordinating pumpkin that we're going to use in there, our greenery, our luxury berries, and this gorgeous sunflower bush over here that has all the great filler. So this is going to be elegant but classic. It's going to scream, hey, I am ready for fall. And this one is great because it just has the scarecrow, so you can use it for fall and Halloween if you want to. It's a great mix of both. So let's get started. We're going to have fun with this. Y'all, so we actually make the bow out of these ribbons on a separate video. So what you want to do is, if you don't know how to make bows and you need to learn how, you're going to need to let us know in the comments so we can get you the bow video as well. And if it doesn't come, the bow video sometimes comes out after the project. Don't worry, we will still get you a link to it there. You can always ask, and we're happy to help you with that. So this particular project, what you are going to need that doesn't come in the kit is going to be, you're going to need a little bit of floral foam, just a small block. We're even going to cut this down smaller. You'll need a few floral pins because I keep these in this little box, but these right here help us secure everything to the base. So we're going to need those. And a couple of little wooden dowels would be great because that's how we'll put in our pumpkin and our scarecrow heads. You need a couple of those. And then you're going to need all your wreath making tools. And of course, over here, we've got our glue skillet that we're going to be using to glue things on. So let's dive right in and get this party started. So the first thing we do is kind of prepare our base. We like to use floral foam when we're going to attach a lot of things to these type of bases, but there's supports run along these grapevine pieces. So you can't just attach things to this fabric. You have to think about how you're putting it on. So I'm going to take a little scrap of foam I have left from a design school project, and we're going to take and slice that kind of in half. So I use my big knife here, slice this down, careful. It's so crunchy, but a nice thin piece here. And the key is I want this to be able to get from each piece of that vine to vine, kind of right in the middle, a little bit up in the middle. So right there would be perfect. I am going to put some glue on the back, and then we're going to glue it here first. But then we're going to take those floral pins and we're going to come around these wire supports in here to hold this in place. So I've got my electric skillet good to go. And I'm going to kind of get rid of some of the glue in the middle, but kind of leave it heavy on each end. So we got kind of a little bit of a, like a thin smear on there, but not as much in the middle. So we're going to take and push that on the grapevine. Perfect. Now gently come with the fabric. You need to be very careful because that glue is hot. Touch that fabric to the back. That's just to make it look pretty. We are not going to expect that fabric to take any weight. It won't work. Now come on these sides, dip these in glue too, and while it's hot, let's come on the sides and get on into that grapevine and into the foam. I'm using my U pins for that. If you're not already in design school, guys, these are some of the supplies we use as our everyday components when we're creating U pins, and the floral foam. Those are normal pieces. But our kits are a great way to get started. And as you kind of explore, you do a few kits, then come join us in design school as well, where you can kind of expand your creative process and learn more and more and more. Where I teach all the principles of designs. But these projects we're doing here together are just a perfect starting point, you know, because they're usually easy. Oh, dang it. That was hot, y'all. I put the glue on it first. I got it. Not too bad. I'm coming through the back, but I'm also hitting that grapevine, okay? I'm going to go over here. So I'm going through the grapevine from the back, and I'm going right into my foam as well. So we can keep doing that. Okay, I've got 4 pieces. I'm going to do 2 more. Keleas design school students will tell you I'm overly constructive. I want to make sure things don't fall apart. I did craft shows for 17 years as my main job, y'all, after leaving my teaching career to do them and be in this creative, the creative lifestyle and making money with my crafts. And kind of neat because the melding of my previously teaching school, and then the creative aspect have melded together now where I get to teach design school. So it's really, really fun. But they'll tell you I over construct things. I want to make sure they last and they are really well made. So you're going to see me do that a lot. Now that we have our foam in, this is what everybody's going to go into and attach to. So you need to start playing with where you think you want your pieces to go. And anytime you see me make something and you buy one of our kits, no, it's just a guideline. You don't have to follow it directly. You can improvise and change things up. You might want to use less and take some of the supplies from the kit and make something else with those too. You just know when you get a kit that the collection goes together so nicely. So I'm thinking about having the scarecrow head down low and the bow up high. Let's see if we like that. I don't know. Now remember, we mowed our bow on another video. So if you need the link for the bow, you just need to ask. So we could do it like this. Okay, that's an option. Or I'm thinking maybe down low and scarecrow head up high. I think that's cute too. Let's see. What if we put the bow here, kind of off the corner of the foam, right? And we can have floral going off that too. And then we tuck our scarecrow head right in there to the tails of the bow. What do you think about that? I think I'm going to go with that. You play with it all kind of different ways and you decide what you like, but I think I love that one. So my first step is going to be knowing my design, how it's going to come together. I'm going to get this bow in. And on the bow, we're going to add a floral pin to the back so we can glue it right into our foam. So you're going to take and add one of those U pins into the cable tie. And we'll get that nice and tight. Just put it to the side for a second. Pull that really tight. And then take your wire cutters, trim that off. And then I'm just going to rotate this around. And then we'll put some glue on here and we'll be able to put her right in the edge of that foam. So I'm going to bring a little glue over. And let's just tuck that right in. Okay. Right up here on the top edge of the foam. And we're going to push that in. And that bow can go right there. Now go ahead and take your tails and separate them out. Because our plan is to put our scarecrow head right here when we get to that part of the design. But we've got lots more fun pieces to go in. Now our cute pumpkin, I know I kind of want it tucked opposite the scarecrow. So if I put him here, right? And I know this pumpkin's going to pop in right up here, just tucked into these ribbons. So super cute. So you want to kind of think about the angle you're going to want to put them in. And I always like to pay attention to the stem as well. I was just teaching that in design school, that we need to alternate those stems. So thinking about how everything's going, I want you to grab one of your skewers and kind of put that at an angle so it can pop out the correct way when we get ready to have it in the foam. So you might need an awl to do this. I'm going to wiggle this in first and see if I can get it in. Okay, so I kind of pre-did my hole. Now I'm going to come in with my glue on it, push it in there, and just twist it while you're going in. That helps you get into that foam, okay? So it's a little bit of an angle, and then I'm going to push this into the foam. So cut it down a little. Sometimes that goes flying, so I usually like to put that against the table. There's my foam. And remember, I can't go too super tight. I got to have it kind of poking out of my bow. So something like that. All right, cute. It's so cute already. Now, Mr. Scarecrow is going to wiggle in right about here and be opposite that pumpkin. One of the things that you do learn in design school is all about the angles and the lines you're creating. So I want to work opposite. And so that means I've got to attach him into the foam right down here. So I'm going to try to do that same move where this comes in this way. So that way he can poke in right there, right? So I need this to be at an angle here. So I just take and poke him in. And let's just make sure that's going to work before I glue it. I think that'll work. I'm going to make it a little bit flatter of an angle. There we go. I think that is perfect. All right. So I'm going to go in there and glue that in. I think I would be comfortable if we did a couple of dowels just for safety. Once again, I warned you. I'm always thinking about, I want my customers to have a piece that's really going to hold up well. And even if you're making it for yourself, you want it to be able to withstand, you know, some torture from the rest of the family. All right, I'm going to dip those two in the glue pot and get those dowels glue on them. And then these are going to go into the foam right into here. And just tuck. Oh, that's perfect. Oh, look how cute everything is. I love the angles on this. It looks great. Okay, so some ribbon tails come out behind the head, some come in front. This is pretty stinking cute already, guys. But nope, we're not done. Now we're going to build up our florals around here. So let's grab our greenery bush because it's kind of going to be our filler. And this is a boxwood that has the fall colorations. So what I like to do with it is just push it up a little bit. Rotate these ever so slightly as you're going up. Okay. and start to create more of clusters with them. Once I've done that, I'm going to trim these off, and don't go too short. Keep them pretty long because we have to work around some elements in here. So we're going to start with right behind the head and just pop these right into that foam. I'm going to have one piece kind of coming out this way from the bow. And we're going to work back from there. This greenery is kind of the go behind. The neat thing is we've kind of covered up all of our actual foam with the bow and the scarecrow head. So now you're just creating this background. There's really nothing to hide. I'm going to pull that up, really get in there. I had to lean way over. I'm sorry if I was in the camera. I got to get in here to this foam. There we go. So those three pieces are in there. Now let's work on the other side. So I'm going to bring it over a little. We want to kind of balance the size. I want to make sure when I'm going into here, I'm about the same size. Similar. So I'm going to put this one behind our little pumpkin. So you're just going to wiggle it behind that ribbon, get into that foam. Come here, buddy. There we go. Give me a hard time. There we go. And let's go beside that a little bit. These I have to cluster them a little bit more clustered, but still leave the stem long because we got to get behind the bow. Into the foam right here. Yep, there it goes. And just pull out those glue strings as you're going along. Okay, and this one into the right. Y'all, we are just layering up our greenery in the background. Let me bring this one over. I'll tuck it right in here. And my gosh, make sure you're commenting kit. You don't want to miss out on this one. Super cute. These fancy kits always sell out because they're just a lot of supplies in there and the full rolls of ribbon. They are nice. Okay, this is really pretty right here before we add anything else. Look at that. So big, so cute. But no, we're not done. That's not how we roll. We're going to come in with our sunflowers, and these have grasses and greenery and all the fun stuff. And you could just pull these off the stem, and then we'll take and trim them to make them nice, neat, and clean. I've got one little piece of greenery left. We're going to use that kind of at the front when we get all done. And I'll just trim these down where they're similar sizes. And I am going to do what we call shake hands in design school. We're going to move everybody up and shape them out, open up my sunflower. And now I'm going to work these in and around our design. So I'm going to take one and have it coming out of the scarecrow, have it come right below the scarecrow down in here. So hold on to it when you're pushing it in. Yep, there it goes. Perfect. I'll have that one kind of come down to get a little of that pop of orange down here. Let's put some at the top. And I'm just going to separate these out also. And let's go on either side of our pumpkin. I'm going to turn her around to make it a little easy for me. So it might be upside down for just a second to you, but I'm going to go on either side of my pumpkin. I got to see way back in there. There you go. I want to hear that crunch going in there. So my first piece is going in. I love it. And I'll fluff back out my bow, and let's put the other one on this side. Okay, and I'll turn it back around to show you when we're all done. Let me get my sunflower open and this pretty greenery looking good. Turn that around. Now, I don't know about you, but I love getting to escape into my craft room and make something beautiful like this. And when you get a completed kit all together, you literally don't have to go out shopping, worry about getting anything. You probably have got all the tools in your craft room already, and that just makes this process go by quick and easy. All right, that looks good. I love that pop of orange. Now our last step is going to be to add our berry. So on these, I like to take and just kind of pull these off. That way we can keep this wire very long to help us get all the way into the foam. So I'm going to take and pull those off. And then up here, I can trim these a little bit longer. So I got one bigger cluster and this right here. All right, let's take these and we're going to work these right in around our bow to kind of get started. Just pop those in. Oh my gosh, as soon as you add the berries, I'm telling you, that pop of orange, it picks up that pop of orange in the bow. Oh my goodness, so pretty, y'all. I love it. We're gonna put that one right there. I'm gonna come over here on this side. So I'm gonna wiggle it around a little bit. And when you do your project, don't be afraid to do that. Like maneuver it, manipulate it, so you're making it easy for you to work on it. And we're just layering these and building this design up. How about some berries up here? What we would call the foreground in the front. We want to work those in. Look how cute this is. This is building up adorable. It's coming out better than I even anticipated. I'm loving it. That orange right there. Let's come on this side, and I'm going to use these berries kind of coming down. Since we did really good with all the berries there, let's have one piece kind of cascading down out of the bottom here. So this one, you'll use that piece you left a little bit longer. And I'm going behind everybody and tucking it into the foam. Yeah, I want to hear it crunch when it goes in. And now just do your final touches of fluffing out the bow. Grab your last little piece of greenery. Trim the stem down, because this is going to go right into the foam, right kind of tucked in, kind of coming out of the bow right here. And we want to have that just tucked in right by his little head. And just like that, we made it, y'all. Can you believe how cute this turned out? This is adorable. It's just next level beautiful. I think you're going to love to try to make one of these for yourself. And this one definitely can hang on your front door or your side door or wherever you would like it. Build your own scarecrow pumpkin because it's stinking adorable. I love the silhouette of the pumpkin behind it. It looks amazing. Hey, Blue Marinos, you going to make this with us? You got to do it. This was fun. Don't forget the bow video is its own video, so just ask for that in the comments. We'll get you the link for the bows, and you can make this same project right along with me. Thanks for hanging out with me, and make sure to have fun with flowers. And don't forget to get ready for fall and create something beautiful for you.